Good evening, and welcome to the Planning and Zoning meeting tonight, January 2nd, 2020. First order of business tonight will be public hearings, and the first public hearing tonight will be the conditional use permit for the Villages of Warrior Ridge Conditional Use Permit -65. Mr. Fick, if you'll bring us up to date and let us know what's going on, and Happy New Year.
Good evening, Planning and Zoning Commission. For your consideration, we ask for the review of the conditional use permit for the Villages of Warrior Ridge. We ask that the ordinance for the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, the comprehensive plan of the City of Warrenton be made part of the record by reference, and finally the package shown as CUP-65 on the agenda be made part of the record by reference, which includes the publication notice for tonight's public hearing that was posted in the Warren County Record. Also, we have Ryan Meeks here with THD. He'll introduce himself, so later on, if you got any questions, you'll be able to direct it toward him.
And introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Meeks with THD Design Group, and I was managing this this conditional use adjustment plat. And if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. We'll...
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on behalf or against this public hearing tonight? Hearing none, we're going to close our only public hearing for this evening and open up the regular Planning and Zoning meeting. First order of business will be our minutes from our last meeting, which was on November the 7th, 2019. Seems like a decade ago. Anybody have any corrections or additions, or like it the way that it was written?
Have it.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Cooper, second by Mr. Cullum to approve the minutes as submitted. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote.
Mr. Costello is absent. Mr. Deach?
Yes.
Mr. Cullum?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mrs. Blondin is absent. Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Priest? Holt?
Abstain, I was absent.
Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 with 1 abstention and 3 absents. Then our order of business tonight will be the conditional use permit for the Villages of Warrior Ridge. So, sir, if you want to step back to the podium and take questions, or if you want to kind of give us an overview of what you're trying to accomplish tonight with this conditional use permit, we'll go from there.
Okay, so we previously did a boundary adjustment plat, and this of
Here,
many...
let me
Sorry, go ahead.
Here, let me go ahead and.
Okay, Mr. Fick.
So we received this conditional use permit on 11/27/19 for the Villages of Warrior Ridge. A conditional use was required for the changing when we changed from the single family, according to section 405-286, when we changed from the multifamily to the single. So the conditional use is going to address that. But they also had, 14 lots, which they changed over. They tried to keep them at 70, but they had some utility issues, so they had to change those down to 67. So we have 14 lots that they're trying to reduce down to, I think it's 67 instead of the 70-foot lots. The square footage, the 8,400, is going to change. It's going to stay the same. So the square footage is there, but they're just trying to reduce down 14 of those lots.
And it meets the requirements of...
It is
code.
just under our requirement of 70 foot. But with our ordinance, we put that in there so we knew going from these multifamily changes to the single that we were going to have issues with utilities, existing utilities out there. So that's kind of why we put this in place, so we can allow them to kind of change the sizes to make it work for the subdivision, to get rid of those multifamilies, to bring them into single families. So we knew we were going to have issues, so this does allow for that. The section it does, if you want me to read the section to you?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just for...
Okay, so according to section 405.286, it states that undeveloped lots conditionally approved for multifamily residence prior to the passage of the section may develop a single-family residence, duplex, triplex, or quadplex, and re-subdivide the lot below the applicable minimum lot size with an approved lot-specific conditional use permit.
Okay.
And that's why we're using the conditional use.
And we put that caveat in there just to protect ourselves, that they always have to come in front of us.
That's correct.
Makes sense.
Right, so according to there, we've got 14 lots on there. Do you want to pull up the other sheet that shows the actual lot number? More 76. It gets the after that. Oh, there was a group. Yeah, so we list the lots. So they sent it over to show us the 14 lots. They were going from 70 down to the 67.
You kind of. So can we go back to the other picture and kind of show us where the? Because it looked like a bunch of them are together. Then. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So which are they pretty much like 5 or 6 of them are together, then 5 or 6 of them are together?
Yeah, and if you want to show them where the, I wish I had.
Because my point is simply that if there's 5 or 6 of them together, you're probably not even going to notice to a naked eye.
No, you wouldn't even notice from the 67 to the 70. You're
Right.
not even going to notice that.
And so I don't see if for the purposes of what it's trying to accomplish, there's no need to nitpick over that.
Really, there's not. You can't tell when you go out there and look at those.
Right.
So if you just want to see on there, they are grouped together because of the actual utilities that are in place.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to show them where the utilities go through, where we change those lots.
The red button on the bottom.
Stand on this side of the podium.
We're gonna have to stand here and talk into this. Face that.
You want to be in the way.
You're fine.
So we have there's one utility here that we're working around, and so we've made this lot here smaller to made it 67 feet wide. And then there's also there's a electric line here that we're working around, and actually these lots here we were able to keep these at least 70 feet wide here, even though there is one electric line we have to work around. And then here there's an electric line right here that we're adjusting because of that line. And so we have 3 lots in here that will be 67 feet wide. And the next one is right here, where you can see this lot is less wide than these two. This one's 67 feet, and then in order to make this work, we worked around the cul-de-sac, and then we have starting up here and coming down, we have 5 lots there.
They were all right next to each
Yeah,
other.
we have 5 lots
he
here
kind
that
of spaced them out so they
67.
all came out even to the 67.
So there'll be some uniformity there. It's from what I'm asking.
That's correct.
And I'm just being old-fashioned here because these are all underlying utilities that you're talking about, all underground.
Yes.
Back when we were kids, they put
Thanks,
Alright.
timer.
I'll entertain any other questions from
the lots. I see here that they're for individual families and then multi-families. Which is which?
Now
Are
originally
these multi-family? Are these duplexes?
no, these are single family lots. Originally, before we did the boundary adjustment back in March, when that was approved and recorded, most of these lots here that you see on this plat were were multifamily, and we changed them to single family. Now all of these that we're adjusting here and that you see on this plat are single family.
Aye.
And that's what he read a while ago, which would allow us to have that caveat in there. If they would go from multifamily to single family, they could be allowed to go below the 70 feet. But they would still have to come back in front of us for a new conditional use permit. Good question.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a house currently being built on lot 42 or 43?
Yes, I believe on 42, correct?
Is okay. Are those structures affected?
No, we've accounted for this adjustment with those, and on 107, in fact, we accounted for it whether this was approved or not. The house will work either way.
In your homework.
Take evening walks.
I propose to approve the conditional use for the re-subdivision of the villages of Warrior Ridge as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Cullum, second by Mr. Durbin, to grant the conditional use permit for the villages of Warrior Ridge, CUP-65. Any other questions or comments at this time? Roll call vote.
Mr. Deitch?
Yes.
Cullum?
Yes.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Durbin?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Holt?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Motion passes 7-0 with 3 absent. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. We appreciate your time very much.
Thanks for building in Warrenton. At this time, we'll close the meeting and turn it over to Mr. Fick for any other announcements for us tonight.
I don't have any other besides the Sport and Spine Chiropractic. They're going to be relocating to 1428 North Highway 47. So we've got nothing new. Don't have anything new on the marijuana dispensaries yet. I haven't got that. Although they started posting all the other information, but not the dispensaries. So that's all I have.
Is that what building is that? The Sport and Spines?
It was the doctor's. It was the other doctor's office on 47. I don't know if it was like a foot doctor or something there, or I don't know what doctor's office was.
Well, up across from
actually there.
KWRE? Up that far north?
I want to say up there by Wolf's Garage.
Yeah,
or-
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Podiatry.
That's it. Okay.
That'd be a good place.
Where's another thing? Our city attorney, is he still our city attorney, or are we? I guess one.
works with them.
I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
filling in for Chris.
You're
tonight.
just filling in for him.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just.
Got younger and better looking.
Yeah.
That's on public record.
It is now.
Yeah, I see that the alderman voted down our truck, the overnight trucking thing too, was in the thing that we voted for. Well, not we. I mean, the thing that was voted for, they voted that down too. So
It made it a condition.
That's why we have the system in place we do. So, anybody else entertain a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Mr. Dees, seconded by
second.
Mr. Cooper. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming out. Happy New Year.